Hey everyone, welcome to the 11th edition of Theo Reviews PMQs, this being the PMQs of the 23rd of March 2022. Now, last time I talked about how it was Deputy Leader of the Labour Party Angela Rayner versus Deputy Leader of the Conservatives Dominic Raab. This time we did have Boris Johnson versus Keir Starmer, so I'll just move straight into it. Keir Starmer's first question was about, obviously, the 800 workers that were fired recently, and asked, if Boris Johnson can't stop that, what's the point of his government? Boris Johnson obviously condemned the P&O company. He said they broke the law and that they'll be taking action. Keir Starmer then referred to the whole incident with the Conservatives with Owen Paterson and how they tried to protect him. And he said, when Owen Paterson was on the ropes, the PM was prepared to rip up the whole rule book, which I'm sure we all remember. And they said, why can't they show the same fight for the workers? And the government had warnings of the sackings and that they did nothing. Boris Johnson then just tried to basically say that he needs to rip up his pre-scripted questions and that he's already answered it. So Keir then replied, so he didn't read his briefing on WhatsApp. Can the PM guarantee that the companies won't get another penny till they reinstate the workforce? Boris Johnson just said, we're taking legal action on it. Keir Starmer said, I'm sure they're quaking in their boots. And that he then referred to another situation, which was that it's not against the law to pay seafarers below the minimum wage. And that 2 years ago, Boris Johnson and the Conservatives said that they would review it. And that there needs to be action now. Boris Johnson tried to say, listen to listen to the previous answer I've given, and that we'll address it. Keir Starmer said, he said that 2 years ago, and that the whole situation with fire and rehire, and that the Conservatives do not have the backbone to ban it. Boris Johnson said, well, the Labour Party does it, and that, we'll fix the law, and that a big problem with fire and rehire in the companies was EU directives, and then went on a tirade about the EU, obviously, because that's how he got elected and how he got his support base, was about criticising the EU. Keir Starmer said, well, on Monday he ordered that his party, the Conservatives, would abstain on banning fire and rehire. So Boris Johnson tried to say, they won't get away with it, and then tried to move on to how great the Conservatives were coming out of lockdown, even though that really had very little to do with the situation. Now, this will get a bit political, because even then I don't think coming out of lockdown has been the best idea. It's about 1 in 20 people now have COVID. Where I work with children, so I've had staff just dropping in and out constantly with COVID. I've been having to test myself constantly. So I wouldn't really say Boris is doing well on that anyway. So obviously, as you can see from this PMQ, it was a lot more of a sort of serious one, a lot more on jobs, a lot more on economics. Boris obviously trying to throw in rhetoric in the EU there, because that's the only thing he knows how to do. So I think it's interesting to see that the PMQs have changed slightly now to a more, nice to see, a more serious way of doing it. A bit less rhetoric, but obviously Boris still trying to throw some in there. Please do let me know what you think about if PMQs have been changing or not, or if you have any other questions about politics at all. Leave them in the comments section or on Twitter or Facebook. Or you can always email them to me at theodoreg.michael@gmail.com. And please do think of giving my video a like or subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much.